Thank you so much. Wow, that was absolutely gorgeous. And now it is my great honor to introduce our guest speaker for today, the Reverend Dr. Mignonne Pollard. She is a Center for Spiritual Living licensed minister of religious science and has been a CSL practitioner for 10 years. She graduated Emerson Theological Institute in 2020 and completed additional classes at Home School of Spiritual Leadership in 2021. She is a staff minister at Center for Spiritual Awareness in West Sacramento. She teaches the CSL certified classes. She developed workshops on self-love, kicking love addiction, and attaining prosperity using the works of Catherine Ponder, who's personally my New Thought hero. So way to go on that. In addition to her religious studies, she holds a Doctor of Education from Harvard University's Graduate School of Education in International Education. Her educational pursuits have taken her to the countries of Zimbabwe, South Africa, South Korea, and Spain. She believes the principles of science of mind can change your life for the better. Welcome.
Good morning, CSL Rockland County. It is a glorious morning, a pleasure for me to be with you this morning, to be with you. You know, and the meditation, I was saying about how the law does the work and love points the way. The law does the work and love points the way. So this morning, I'd like to offer a sort of a meditation on love, on divine love, and how it our lives, how it is always operating in our lives. And I was inspired this morning by some Adinkra symbols. These are symbols from the country of Ghana. And they're symbols that tell an entire story in just a visual representation. I got interested in this when I was learning about the most famous symbol, which is Sankofa. And I found out there were two symbols for Sankofa. So in this exploration, I found that there was a lesser known symbol, and it drew me in, and it was all about divine love. So this morning, I'm going to do something a little different. I personally am usually an audio learner. I learn by listening, by lectures. But this morning, we're going to use visual representations. So I'll take you on a visual exploration of about three symbols, and I'll have stories to supplement. The spiritual principle that I'm working with today is love is never lost. Love, divine love, God, Holy Spirit, divine intelligence, whatever you want to call it. God is always right where you are, no matter what you're going through, whether you're at your highest peak or you're in your lowest valley. You're not alone. There's an energy that connects you to God and to every other person. That energy is running in and around and through everything. Yet, it is when we're at our wits' ends, when we're holding on by a thread, it's easy to forget that everything is working out for our good. It's good. It's easy to forget that. When you think about to lose your job, when you're in the midst of pain or struggle, when it comes to these times, and we all can go through these times, either grow closer to God or move further away from, or have a perception that we're moving further away from the divine, because we never are separated from the divine. You are never separated, and you are never alone. We have a direct connection with God, and God is greater than any circumstance or you may be facing today. So love is everywhere present, and I am because we are. And so that South African symbol Ubuntu, that stands for respect for human dignity, compassion, and justice. So now I'm going to begin our journey of symbols by my screen. And I'm going to start with Ubuntu. Ubuntu, because Ubuntu, this is the symbol for Ubuntu from Southern Africa. And if you look at it, it looks like from above, three people stretching out their arms and holding on to one another. It's three people holding out their arms to make a circle. I believe Ubuntu is a form of divine love. And when we live in this principle of holding out our arms, of looking for one another, of respecting each other, human dignity, justice, and compassion, when we do that, I believe that that is love that cannot be lost. That is love that is shared. That is love that is expected. And as you heard in my bio, I spent a year in Southern Africa on a research fellowship. I went to live and to work with the people. And as a visitor, as a traveler, as an observer, I never had to ask for food or water. I was always welcomed into people's homes. I was treated as an honored guest. And that is another example of Ubuntu. In addition to that, it was my first trip to the motherland as an African American. And the Zimbabwean and South African people assured me that there are no mistakes in this life, that I landed in the right place with the Shona and the Ndebele people. They believe that when and if you get to go to the continent Africa, that you land in the right country, you land right where you're supposed to be because your soul knows its way home. You learn the lessons that you need to learn. So whether you go to Africa or not, you cannot be lost. You're never alone. And no matter what it looks like right now in your life, I've found that it is in hindsight and over the many years that I have come to know the whys of why this happened or why that happened. But when I was going through it, and even if it felt like it was hard, I had to get a hold of a deep knowing that my good was indeed unfolding, no matter what it felt like. I know that now in the depth of my soul that if it doesn't feel good, if it's not feeling good right now, if I'm riding those rough waters or having a bumpy winds, that all will be revealed in time, that all you have to do is to stay the course, to ride the waves. There'll be smooth sailing again. And how do I know this? How does this happen? Because we use our tools. We use prayer, we use meditation and affirmation. And we go into our own upper room, our own prayer closet, your sacred space, and you speak your word. And as you ride those rough waters, as you ride those waves of change, it becomes smoother. You know, Ernest Holmes reminds us in The Science of Mind that prayer is essential not to the salvation of the soul, for the soul is never lost, but to conscious well-being of the soul that does not understand itself. There is a vitality in our communion with the infinite, which is productive of the highest good. Ernest Holmes says, as a fire warms the body, as food strengthens us, as sunshine raises our spirits, so there is a subtle transfusion of some individual forces in such communion, weaving itself together into the very warp and woof of our mentalities. This conscious commingling of our thought with spirit is essential to the well-being of every part of us. This conscious commingling is the space that we enter to know that we are not alone, that love is right there, right where we are. You know, I started this journey of thinking about divine love and how it shows up all the time. It was during a Kwanzaa celebration of 2023. And I did this little talk about Sankofa. And let me put the symbol of Sankofa up so you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's see if it can, oh, wrong way, that way. Okay, put the symbol of Sankofa. So Sankofa is actually, it's a picture of a bird who's going forward, but its face is facing backwards and it's picking up an egg. And that egg is the precious gifts that we can take from the past. And it is in this first symbol, that's the prof the the that said that don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to go back and get it. Don't be afraid to go back and get the knowledge that you have from your past, from your ancestors. It's go back and get those gifts. Divine love is always there, and part of that is to go back and get it. The Andinkra symbol represents that concert and that culture, the Akan culture. And it communicates, all these symbols communicate really deep truths. So most of us are really familiar with Sankofa. And if you're not, now you are. Sankofa is that first symbol of love, of this idea of going back into your history and getting that which is the gift. So an example of that I found is I want to share a part of a story that I sort of read and studied. And it's a demonstration of what it means to take those gifts from the past, bring them to into your present, and have them shine the light for your future. And the example is, I want to share parts from Misty Copeland's book, The Wind at My Back, Resilience, Grace, and Other Gifts from my mentor, Raven Wilkinson. So as you might know, Misty Copeland is a celebrated ballerina. She went through many heartbreaking times, potentially career-ending injuries, and struggles to become a prima ballerina. She was the first Black prima ballerina, the first Black lead ballerina in the American ballet theater. And through all the ups and downs, God showed up in her life as her mentor, as her friends, as encouragement. She wrote a book of homage to Raven Wilkinson, the first Black ballerina with the Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo. And she was the first Black ballerina to take the stage in Atlanta, Georgia, with this international company in 1957. She passed away in 2018, but because Raven Wilkinson was, Misty Copeland is. And because Misty Copeland is, she opens the door for others. So I want to just talk about this one night of triumph that she's talking about. One night of triumph she describes it hour by hour, minute by minute in 2015 when she was dancing the lead in Swan Lake at New York City's Metropolitan Opera. This was done after months of recovery from a surgery to put back together her tibia. She had a metal plate. She has a metal plate that's holding her leg together, but she persevered. Misty was the first to dance this role at the American Ballet Theater, to be the lead during that season. And like Raven before her, Misty believed in this. She said, when and where I enter, a whole race enters with me, both with the promise and the possibilities, and the burdens and the pressure. So now I'd like to just share a few words from her, which as she danced that dance of the Swan Queen in Swan Lake. Hold on a second. I just want to share a little bit. She had finished dancing And now it was time for her to have this moment of recognition and acceptance. So what she says is, and then came Raven. Raven is her mentor. Watching her walk into the Metropolitan Opera House stage that day remains one of the absolute highlights of my career. She came out of the first wing, downstage right, in a red dress that she wore for important occasions, holding a big bouquet of flowers. I immediately burst into tears. This wasn't about me. This was her moment. The audience roared with admiration and respect for what she meant to me and for so many for whom she'd helped pave the way. It was as if my whole career had flashed before my eyes in that moment, and all I could do was drop to one knee and to bow to her. I am here because of her. In her joy, she began to undulate her arms like wings, and it was undeniable. We were both swan queens. And so she went back, she talked to a few people, all luminaries were there, and Debbie Allen spoke, and Debbie Allen said in 2015, she said, "We are living in a time when where our nation is fractured, where we don't know who we are, where fear is our guide, and your performance today told us that there is hope, that there is something more that we can believe in." And Misty says, "I stood by Raven. We held hands as we absorbed Debbie's words. Nearly 50 years separated us in age, but our journey at this moment, which belonged to both of us, made us one." So Misty faced and Raven faced racism. They faced it from that moment that came before her. Misty looked back into all that was. She looked back into the gifts that Raven had given, had supplied through her life story, through her demonstration of becoming the first Black ballerina with a company. She took the courage, she took the encouragement, she took the promising words. Those were the gifts that she brought from the past. She learned who came before her and gave homage to them. You know, and as we know, the lights went out again in 2020, and the lights went out all over the world, we'll say. And there were more ups and downs in Misty's personal life, but God was there in the midst of it. Divine intelligence gave us an opportunity to rethink our lives, all of us, in 2020, that help us rethink our institutions and how we wanted to live life. But Misty came into this conclusion as her life expanded into motherhood and as she pondered all that she gave to the world. She looked back on her life on her life thus far and career, and she said this: "As I recall from the magical night I met Raven over 10 years ago, Raven said that life is an ensemble effort. Our culture is, and we have to endeavor to work together." Raven's story resonates and inspires so many and will continue to do so, to inspire generations to come. Misty says, "Every little brown girl who steps into a ballet studio, a space that Raven claimed for us all, continues her legacy. And through all the hate and rejection that she faced, she embodied the famous Bible passage: love bears all, love believes all, love hopes all things, endures all things, love never fails." And now these three things remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. And Misty says, Raven was love. Divine love was always there. Misty Copeland's life, Raven's life, intertwined is a demonstration of divine love unfolding for the highest and best, I think, for the highest and best of us all. It's for the highest and best of us all to have a Black prima ballerina. Misty's story embodies this idea of Sankofa. Go back and get it. Get that understanding of the past, where you've come from, where your art and craft have evolved from, on whose shoulders do you stand. Get an understanding of the strength and the love that has brought you to this point, and bring that forward into the future. Now, I said there were two symbols of Sankofa. Up, next way, up, back. And this is the second symbol of Sankofa. And it is that love always, it's a symbol like two swans, images facing each other, and they form a heart. And it is simply going deeper into that idea of love and knowing that love always finds its way home, and divine love is always present. And what I say to you is that your soul is the home where divine love lives. And as you open to divine intelligence, you know that you are always at home. So I believe that if there are broken relationships out there, if communications are bad, that it is divine love that heals that connection between family and friends. Divine love can bring peace to any situation. And again, we use our tools. We use our tools of prayer, of communion with the divine, of affirmations. Home is that space in your heart. And if you're in disagreement, conflict, or struggle with anyone, open your heart and let divine love heal that relationship. I like to say, just stop, drop, and pray. Don't try to help the universe, but follow its lead. And it'll always lead you home to your heart and to that peace in your soul. And then see if I can go the right way. No? All right. There's one final symbol, and it is Oda Niwe Fiakan, meaning love is never lost. And this is in the Akan Adinkra world. It is the power of the symbol of love. It's the power of love. It's used in wedding rings. It's used on all types of symbols to denote both romantic love and I think also to divine love, because the proverb behind this symbol says that if you follow love, if you follow the path of love, then you are always going to end up in the right place. Those led by love always end up in the right place. So if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling unsettled, if you're feeling like you've lost your footing or you lost your purpose, stop and tune in to divine love. Tune in to your heart. Sit still and listen to that whisper of the divine. Surrender, don't direct. Listen to divine intelligence speak to you. Pray, meditate, visit a practitioner, and know that divine love is always there. You are not alone. You cannot be lost. Wherever you are, right now is the right place for your soul's growth. Love is never lost. It is inside of you and it radiates from you. It radiates outward. You have all you need. Just turn inward. So this journey into these three Adinkra symbols have given me a deeper appreciation for the ancestral knowledge and how the world works. We say that we take ancient wisdom from everywhere. Well, let's begin to take it from everywhere. These symbols offer us deep concepts into this idea of divine love and love. And this knowledge reassures us that divine love is ever present and is never lost, that we are surrounded by pure love energy, by pure potential, and that if we focus on it, not only do we heal ourselves, but we heal the world. So we can raise our awareness of divine love through meditation, through prayer, through affirmations. But I just want you to know that you're never lost. You're surrounded by divine love. You are not alone. Divine intelligence is ever present. So, indeed, let us take this message into prayer. So just recognizing divine intelligence, just recognizing that divine love is right here, right now, and that divine love is exactly who I am, that it is this love that radiates in and through and as my life, and that each person here, divine love is radiating in and through and as each person's life. And I am just speaking my word. I'm speaking my word right here and right now, that the best and highest is unfolding for each and every person on this call, that divine love is lighting the pathway, that divine love is blessing and leading and guiding and comforting, that divine love is supplying all needs. Oh, I'm so grateful and thankful for this. I'm grateful and thankful for this knowledge, for this awareness, for this understanding that divine love is always there. And I release this word into the law, and together we say, and so it is. So it is.